I've currently been absolutely obsessed with The Long Dark, and I will be even more obsessed with the second game that they're making, Black Frost, The Long Dark 2. And, that game is, I think, expected to come out in January, February, or March of 2026. It's somewhere early, I don't really remember. Or maybe I'm just making up the date. But there's quite a few features that I would really like to see, and for the most part, I will just be yapping about nothing, and that will probably not be heard by many people, or even the developers themselves. But, yeah. For those of you who play The Long Dark, Anyway, for those of you who play The Long Dark, you know that there's a few weapons. There's a revolver in the variants, there's a bow with its variants, and then there's a bolt-action rifle and its variants. The Long Dark 2, or as I will just be referring to as Black Frost from now on. Anyway, in Black Frost, there's scenes of there's like I don't know if it's art or supposed to be screenshots, but it's somebody holding a knife in one picture, and then somebody holding a hatchet in the other. So I assume that you will be able to use melee weapons as actual things in your hand, not just something that if you get attacked by a wolf or something that you use it in a struggle. I hope that feature's still in the game, but, you know. And it also appears that there might be a fire axe in the game, because there's been a couple pieces of footage that show you know, as I said, a big old fire axe. And there's a couple other weapons that I would really like to see. The first one that I mainly want to see is some type of shotgun. And I feel like the shotgun would probably be best made if it had multiple ammo types. What I mean by that is I think the shotgun should have two or three ammo types, if it is added, being birdshot, buckshot, and slugs, if there's three. Or if there's only two, just bird and buckshot. For those of you who don't know the difference between bird, buck, and slug, shells for shotguns, birdshot is like a bunch of little pellets that are designed to just create the biggest spread that can possibly happen, because, as in the name, it's for shooting birds and small game. Buckshot are bigger, pellets, but they are, supposed to kind of be a little bit more, they still kind of spread, but they're bigger and there's fewer, so they're designed to actually put down an animal. And then there is, slugs, which I don't even really know if I'm being completely correct of what the bullet types are, but, slugs are is just a big singular bullet. If you ever shot a rifle or a pistol or something like that, it's basically it's just a bullet is basically what the slug is. It's like firing a bullet out of a shotgun. It's not just the pellets itself. And, so yeah, I would really like to see a shotgun in the game, because, I really hate wasting pistol and rifle calibers on, the little white birds and the, rabbits. It kind of, sucks to be wasting such valuable ammo, and I would feel, if there was a shotgun and it had multiple types of ammo, that bird shot would be the most common. Yeah. A second weapon that I would want to see is, I actually remember watching a video and it came up and I thought it was very interesting. Bear spray. Because not every time that you're going to end up, that something is going to come chasing after you, or if there's something in your way, not every time you're going to have the firepower to take it out. So maybe something to at least ward it off for a little bit. So I would suggest bear spray be in the game, that you could just spray it, and it will send something like, well, a bear, it will run off a little bit. Maybe not run, but it will avoid that area for a little bit. I don't really know how bear spray works, I never used it. But, that's just how I would assume it would work. Next weapon that I would really like to see is some type of AR style rifle. I'm not talking about, whenever I say AR doesn't stand for assault rifle, by the way. I mean like semi-automatic rifles where basically take the bolt action, but fire. But if you just press the mouse, it just shoots. It just shoots until you're empty. Just press the mouse and it will fire off as many rounds as you're tapping or clicking. I feel like that would be very useful in terms of self-defense, because, or it could just be used for hunting in general in the game, but I feel like being able to, I feel like it would make more sense as a self-defense weapon more so than a active hunting weapon. It would be something where if you're going to a dangerous area, it would be wise to bring this, because you need as many, like a 20, 30 round magazine to at least try to put down some type of animal if it's coming at you. That also goes for the NPCs in the game that will now be in Black Frost, because there are NPCs, and I don't know if they are going to be inherently hostile, or if it's just a chance that they will be. I would assume that it would be kind of split to where some would be maybe more cautious, and then others would be more hostile of you. Some of them might be friendly. But, yeah. Next up that I would really like to see, I don't ever think that I've seen something like this in a game before, but, well, I've seen it done before, don't get me wrong. What I'm talking about is, if you ever, my bad. If you've ever played a game where it has, like a voice menu, like where, you can say thank you, or, respectful, or say something respectful, or an insult, or say sorry, things like that. I feel like having something like that in the game would be really cool, and if it actually had it to where the NPCs would respond to what you say. So here's a little picture to be painted for you. Imagine you are inside of a building and you're looting around and stuff, and then you hear a door open, and then you hear somebody rummaging around, and you hear him muttering to himself, and you just hold a button, and then you shout, "Hands up." And then, like, he actually responds. Either he turns around and tries to fight, or he tries to run, or he actually surrenders. Because I feel like being able to... Because with a game like this, you're alone. The most that you'll ever find of a person is going to be a dead body, or contacting the trader on the radio. So I feel like having, like, more interaction than just, oh, hey, or instant gunfight would be a bit more entertaining or useful, because not everybody wants to waste bullets in a fight. Not everybody, if there's just this lone guy who's skittish and he's just in a building, not everybody is just going to want to shoot him in the head. Not everybody's going to have the ammo or even the capability or weapons to shoot him in the head. They could just say surrender if they want to bluff it. And also a feature that I think would be kind of cool is if that was a thing where if you yelled surrender at somebody and you held a gun that it doesn't have any ammo in it, sometimes they wouldn't know, and that they would assume that it would be loaded. Yeah, that's just a little thought that I had. Something else that I kind of thought of adding to the game, or let's go back actually real quick. Going back on weapons, I feel like a crossbow would also be a really cool addition to the game, where it would do more damage than the regular bow, and it would take bolts instead of actual arrows. Yeah, that's something else that I think would be kind of useful. Something else that I would also really like to see are more animals, or at least variants of them. maybe not variants as in like they do something or they're super unique, but maybe just the rabbit's actually having a white coat, or maybe there was a bear that got shot with a bow or a rifle or something like that, and or it got in a fight with another bear where somebody was stabbing it with a knife, and you can find a bear like that, but it's all clawed up and it has wounds all over it. Or animals kind of like that. I feel like animal variants, or just more animals in general, would be also a nice addition. I feel like things like maybe foxes would also be pretty good. Geese and ducks. Maybe more so geese than ducks. But I feel like if you were on like a coastal area, or if there was like a frozen lake and you could find geese sitting there and you were able to use, say, a birdshot shotgun to shoot one, that you would eventually, that you could have like goose feathers, and you can use those as arrow substitutes instead of the crow feathers, because I'm not really sure that, I don't really know if crow feathers make very good arrows. I don't really know, but I've seen people use things like chicken, turkey, and geese feathers for arrows before, though. In terms of foxes, I feel like things like a, if you could make a craftable thing, I would like it if you could also make something like the cougar wrap, where you can make something kind of like this, or you could make just a hat or a pair of gloves, or just something like that. More, I like being able to, like, craft things in the game. That's what I like the most for the game. That I'm able to, like, make my own clothing if I wanted to. And next up, this is something that I kind of was stuck in my mind as soon as I saw the trailer a while back ago. Where one of the beginning scenes, there's somebody who has an axe and he's cutting down a tree. And while, of course, I think the idea of actually building a house in the game would be really cool, I don't think it would make sense. Because the Long Dark, if you wanted to play on, like, the hardest difficulty, like, I don't think most people would even if they really wanted to, I don't think most people would try to stick it out and build a house in a place where it's this cold, where it's going to be freezing this much, unless there is no other option. But what I more so meant was building smaller things. Things like, also relating back to the trailer, there's horses that are oftentimes shown. And maybe something like a stable that's buildable, or a hitching post that you could at least attach a horse to. Or maybe there would be, places like, for anyone who plays the game, you know the place, the region Pleasant Valley. You know how it has a bunch of barns and stuff. Maybe you could bring a horse inside of something like that and use that instead. Or just something to where the horse wouldn't just be sitting outside in the cold. Because I would think that people would, want to take care of something that is able to be useful or help take care of them. For a second, I thought I didn't put away my inventory. But, yeah. Something else that I kind of want to see is, or more so to just share something that I really like the idea of. I really like the concept of games where you have to take care of something, like a car, a baby, a dog, a horse. But for some reason, the most games that I've ever seen that do something like that have been cars, where you have to maintain it and you have to make sure that it's all in a working order and stuff, and that's fine. But I would much rather prefer the idea of having something to take care of that can somewhat appreciate it. That's more so my idea of, like, the horse would be, it would be more companionship than just tires. Sorry. Anyway, back to talking about Black Frost. I don't know if they'd add it, but I'd also really like it if they would. Recruitable NPCs or dogs. I feel like having something, maybe like a dog sled, if you had a bunch of huskies or something like that, that you could attach them to a sled and you could use that. Or if you could hire, or you could have a high enough reputation, or even make friends with certain NPCs that you could, then, like, they would come with you and they would maybe not build, like, a community with you, but they would live around where you do, or live in the same building if it's big enough, and you guys would work together. That's something that I kind of want to hope for, but that feature may not be a thing. Things like rivalries and stuff like that, and friendships probably wouldn't be in the game. And if you want to know why, you can thank Warner Bros. Studios, who are the biggest jerks to ever hit gaming. Personally, I don't think anything is worse than patenting frankly, the best video game system that could ever be made. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, Warner Bros. Studios is in control of a game called Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor and Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Well, I've played Shadow of War, and there's a system in the game where you can recruit. It's set in, like, Lord of the Rings, so you can recruit orcs to fight for you, or they will remember you if you shamed them or humiliated them in some way, or maybe they'll even come back from the dead. And Warner Bros. Studios decided to put a patent pending on it, or a patent on it, or I don't remember exactly what it's called, but they put something on it, and now nobody can use it until the year, I think, 2038, 2034, sometime around 2030 something. So yeah, if you ever wonder why you can't have extensive relationships with NPCs, whether it's friendly or hostile, you know why now. So that's just a little bit of hate that you can shout their way. And I feel like this game would do pretty good, or it would be pretty nice if you had the ability to make actual friends with NPCs. I also really hope that co-op turns out to be really well, and I would kind of like to see maybe, I also want to see how, gunfights with NPCs would turn out, because I would assume that they add new afflictions and stuff, like bullet wounds and stuff. Yeah, that's just kind of my hopes for Black Frost, and I really hope that some of you have some things, if you are interested in the Long Dark, that you are wanting to share. If so, leave in the comments. But if you like this video and watch it to the end, thank you. Like and subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Anyway, I will see all of you in the next one. Till next time, Survivor.